A shot of a Bible dripped in blood. Its pages with fingerprints all over it. It's just soaked in blood. And it says Nigeria's red letter Bible. And the pastor that's using that Bible is the third in line. And he's standing up preaching with his Bible that cost his two preceding pastors their lives and their wives and their children and most of the congregation. And whenever they gather in this little church that has no air conditioning and no padded pews and no electricity, whenever they gather, it is a hit and miss if there are going to be gunmen drive by and shoot everybody in the building. And yet they still gather every week and daily to worship Jesus and pray. And this is right now in Nigeria. And the pastor that gets up and preaches that holds that Bible, I don't know about you, but I don't think I have the grace on me. I'll be like, you know what, there's a church down the street that's a little safer. I don't know if I can do it, right? But the pastor preceding him was shot while he was preaching. His blood is all over this Bible. He discipled the guy that took his place. His wife was killed, his 10-year-old son, 9 other people in the congregation. They buried them, and you know what? They have church the next week. And the guy that he discipled is using that Bible. And he's preaching the gospel. Yeah, I read that. Look at those pictures. And, you know, how many people would show up here every week if gunmen were shooting in here daily? Nobody. I guarantee you, in this country, wouldn't be here. Hey, you don't go to Liberty, man. They're shooting people over there, right? That's just not what we're accustomed to, right? And somehow, these people, this is where the faith, this is where the rubber meets the road. Could you, and I've read stories and stories and stories and stories of this, of where believers, there's 1,700 martyrs a day. A day that are dying for their faith. And I've read stories after stories where they gather to worship, knowing that, hey, if they break in, we're dead, but they still come. I've seen pictures where they were meeting outside of Romania. It was in the 80s, and they were slaughtering them. Richard Wurmbrand wrote Tortured for Christ. If you ever get a chance to read that book, life. And he tells us there's pictures of that, of them going out into the woods to meet, and they're in their Sunday's best, and the little kids are dressed up. It looks like they're going to Sunday school. And they're walking out into the woods to meet in the frigid snow to worship Jesus. And they don't have lights, camera, action. They don't have anything. All they do is gather. The guy preaches the gospel. They sing hymns. They take communion. And they get on their knees and pray together. And it's happened more times than one where they have, while they were holding hands praying, the machine gunners have come around and shot multiple of them. And they still show up next Sunday. Yeah. I don't know why I'm going here, but I'm just saying, faith costs something. And it cost Abraham dearly. I fear for this country, to be honest with you. Because those Christians are there. They're experiencing things that we can't understand. I think, wow, we're so arrogant as Americans. We're the church. We have it all. We want to give you our stuff. We'll come and give you our money. We'll support you. Need a little bit of that. Not shooting. Faith. So anyhow, faith is growth into God. 10 more minutes. More and more it must be loosed from the earthly attached to the heavenly. See, this is what God was doing with Abraham. Abraham, I've showed you the promise, I've given you the word, now the son has come, but I need you to let go of everything that you thought you knew up to this point. And that's the way it is in the faith. We apprehend and receive promised blessings from God. And every time we get them in our hands, God asks for them back. Because He doesn't want us attached to stuff. He doesn't want us attached to His gifts. He wants us attached to Him. I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. Isaac wasn't. He was the promise. He was the blessing. But it's God who is the reward. So when we get those blessings in our hands, He makes sure that they are not the reward. He is. So He asks for them back. Amen. I'm going to say something on this. And I'm going to be honest with you. This messed with my Pentecostal faith, word of faith theology. It didn't go. It didn't jive with my Ravens Bible school training. I'm 20-something, being mentored under a pastor, 26 of preaching. It looks really well. I'll get noticed by people in the denomination. I'm just going to give you a little snapshot here of Foursquare, beating Jack Hayford, and I'm thinking, man, this is good. This is God's going to just, I'm going to explode all over the world. This is God, right? And it was. And so all this is happening, and they dump all this money into me, and they believe I'm going to be successful. With thousands of dollars to plant a church. I'm married, have 2 kids, shiny suit, briefcase, look the part, feel the part, believe God has spoken, years and years of faithfulness, rubbing toes with the church, been doing everything I could to get to this place, and I'm licensed, and then God's smiling, it's all good. Alex was my worship leader, the church is growing, I'm outside of my house praying. And I'm fervently seeking revival. I'm thinking about just what, it was 2006. It was the centennial of Azusa Street. 100-year anniversary. I'm thinking this is the entire revival. 100-year mark, it's got to be, right? This is, again, trying to figure it all out. I'm outside of my house. God speaks to me. And He says this to me. He says, can I have your church? Now, I know the Bible, sure, because He's not going to take it. Of course, Abraham gave him. He didn't take Abraham. Abraham didn't. He didn't know, but I know the story. So when He asked for it, He's not taking it. Okay, He just wants me to offer it. So yeah, and I really felt though. I'm praying. I released it. Okay, Lord, you can have the church. He says, "Can I have a house?" First time homeowner, this is my house. I said, yeah, Lord, you can have my house. Then He says, can I have your family? I said, yeah, Lord, you can have it. Give it to me. In 3 months, I lost the church. My wife left me for another man. House went into foreclosure. Everything was gone in 3 months' time. Now, like I said, my word of faith theology didn't line up with this, okay? This couldn't be. God wouldn't really take it. And He did.